PCN is brought to you in part by the following underwriters.
Welcome to PACTV Community News. We have a great show tonight. We stop into the Babe Ruth All-Star Game, see the launch of 2 new runways at Plymouth Airport, and stop into a kids' cooking class with a local celebrity chef.
PCN brings you a story on estate planning for when you have a special needs situation, and we take you to the opening concert for the Duxbury Music Festival.
We take you to the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce's Lobster Crawl kickoff and learn about the benefits of microchips from our pet health segment.
Town Talk takes us to Kingston Town Hall for a summer update. And we begin tonight at a lovely home in Duxbury with some lovely music. The South Shore Conservatory kicked off its summer music festival down by the water in Duxbury. The setting was spectacular and the music was sublime. We were able to catch up with some of the people that helped make the whole evening possible.
This evening's event is at the home of Holly and Brendan Kassan, who graciously opened their property to about 250 people who will listen to classical music this evening by Mozart, and also a really exciting piece of combination of jazz, piano, drum with a classical violin. It's our opening concert of the festival. We're going to have 14 events in 17 days between concerts on the green, in private homes, First Parish Church, and also at the Ellison Center.
Well, it's the opening concert for the 11th season, and as you can imagine, we made our first decade, and now we're starting off for the second, decade. And it's important because each opening concert we have the winners of the previous year's solo concerto or chamber competition. So Ara Cho, who was the winner of the concerto competition last year, will be performing the Mozart 4th Violin Concerto.
The music festival is a 17-day event. We serve faculty and students 3 meals a day, all prepared by volunteers. So between all of our events and our programs, we have over 200 Duxbury residents who volunteer for the festival.
Classical music is accessible to all. And if you will allow yourself to sort of become part of it, you'd be surprised as to how varied classical music is. It's not just Brahms, Beethoven, and Bach. On this program we're doing Mozart, which couldn't be more classical, Previn, who's a 20th century English-born but American composer, Andre Previn, and we're doing Bowling, which is a jazz piece for violin and jazz piano trio.
For people who've never been to one of these concerts, I suggest that they just give it a try, because you can't imagine the quality of the talent and the difficulty of the repertoire, and it really is quite exciting. When I first drove by the Ellison Center, not knowing anything about the music festival, I always tell people that I thought, isn't that cute? There's this cute, wonderful little music festival for children going on at the conservatory for the summer, when in actuality these kids are graduate students in performance. They've come from China, Japan, Switzerland, Israel, all over the US and many other places, for the intent purpose of performing here, and it's fabulous.
Plymouth's Municipal Airport just received a major upgrade in the form of 1,000 extra feet of runway for its 2 most frequented stretches of tarmac. While 1,000 feet of pavement might not seem like much to us out here, where driving 1,000 feet usually means the distance from your driveway to the end of your street. If you're a pilot, it means a more expansive and lengthy landing strip. We headed to the airport to get the details. Project Runway finds its way to Plymouth Municipal. Now, that's not really what they're calling it, but it was a sizable project, 5 years in the works for an additional 1,000 feet on the south side of this airport. Today was the ribbon cutting ceremony. While it's not every day that 1,000 feet of new tarmac gets its own press conference, with a cost of $4.7 million, this occasion seemed worthy. 90% of that cost was paid for by the FAA, while the Mass Department of Transportation picked up 6% and the town of Plymouth paid for the remaining 4%. With the size of the crowd that turned up for the event, getting to the ceremony was easier said than done, as we crammed into the airport trolley. As a member of the Plymouth Airport Commission, Tom Hurley explained the significance of this ribbon cutting.
The 1,000-foot extension on runway 1533 was critically important because now Plymouth has balanced runways. Each runway is 4,350 feet long, and that means that all airplanes at any given point in time will be using the same runway, whether or not they're larger turbine airplanes or smaller general aviation airplanes. The traffic pattern will be the same.
Up until this point, larger planes could only use one of the runways to land during windy weather. So by adding the additional footage, it was not only more convenient, but more important, it made things safer.
When the wind was out of the north, the smaller airplanes would naturally land into the wind. They would go on runway 33. But the larger airplanes needed the longer runway, so they had to do a crosswind landing on 624, either one or the other. And the problem there is that not only on the ground, but in the air, in the pattern, you had traffic airplanes flying at 90 degrees to one another. Never a problem, but it was not a safe situation. So now that the runways are balanced, Plymouth is a safer and more noise-free airport.
Seeing as this was the airport, they couldn't just have any run-of-the-mill ribbon cutting, so they added some pizzazz to the event. Reporting from Plymouth Municipal Airport, I'm Brian Sullivan, PACTV Community News.
Kids often don't understand how much work goes into preparing a meal. Through the Kingston Recreation Department, local resident and past Food Network star competitor Susanna Lacchetti offers a fun-filled and tasty course for kids called Kids Cooking Night Out. We dropped by on a Friday night at the Beale House in Kingston to observe the fun.
Dry, crumbly. Nobody wants a dry, crumbly cupcake, right?
Kids Cooking Night Out, parents drop the kids off at 6 o'clock and they spend 3 hours with me cooking, totally hands-on. This is a chance for them to just totally get their hands dirty, have fun, and there's really nothing I won't let them do in the kitchen as long as it's safe. Tonight we're doing summer fruit-related desserts, so we're going to focus on cupcakes. We're going to do strawberry, blueberry, and then I'm going to show them how to do a cupcake inside of an ice cream cone. So I thought that would be cool. I think it's important for this age group to get in the kitchen because they need to know how to cook for themselves. A lot of families, and their families might be two-income parents. They're both going to work. They might not be home at 5 o'clock. They're hungry and they want to be able to make something. You know, when I was a kid, we all helped out in the kitchen. Everybody had a little part. And nowadays, where they're not teaching cooking in the schools anymore, a lot of kids just don't know their way around the kitchen. So this is a great opportunity for them to kind of develop that passion early on and really be a helpful member of their family in the kitchen. I think the earlier you can get them in the kitchen, the better, because that's how you get a lot of buy-in on them eating foods they want to eat. They're going to pick it out and develop kind of those tastes at an early age, get them eating more diversified foods rather than, you know, chicken nuggets, French fries, and pizza. But I do teach safety in here. A lot of kids don't know what you can and can't put in a microwave. They're putting the wrong types of dishes in the oven. My son blew up a glass in the microwave doing water. I'm like, what would make you think you could put a wine glass in the microwave? No. The takeaway is that your kitchen, your rules, you never make a mistake in my kitchen. It's always just learning experience. You know, my mom taught me when I was little, if it tastes like crap, throw it out. And that was really empowering for me because I was never afraid to cook anything. I'm like, oh, well, if it doesn't come out good, I can just throw it away. So I was always pretty fearless, and I teach these kids stuff that they'd probably learn as an adult in a cooking class. Like we worked with phyllo dough one class. There are adults that won't even touch it, but they're just so fearless at this age. They have nothing really to compare it to, so they just soak it all in. They're not afraid to make mistakes, and they're just a really good time in the kitchen.
Such fun. And I hate to cook, and I would love to cook if I had a teacher like her. And I hear that you have a history. You know her?
I don't know about history. Yeah. She and I were friends in college. We were in the dorms together my freshman year.
Wow.
And this is actually the first time I've seen her in 3 years. So it was cool. It was great to see somebody else that went to my college Actually, somebody else that went to my college that turned out to be successful. in
Yeah,
life,
good
so
for
that's really
her.
cool.
What fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, excellent.
Estate planning is complicated, at best, and for families that have children with disabilities. There are special considerations and the need for long-term planning. Estate planning attorneys can help families navigate the process. We recently visited an estate planning seminar in Pembroke to learn more.
Tonight's seminar is a seminar catered towards children with special needs, and the gist of the seminar and the backbone behind it is to make sure parents know what's available out there. So from a long-term circumstance standpoint, their children are protected, and that's really the main goal, is to protect the children later on in life, to make sure that they don't get kicked off any benefits, whether it's state or federal, and to make sure that any inheritance that they may have is protected and kept for the child. You know, I've had some clients in the past that have, unfortunately, the parents have passed away, and when the child received their inheritance, whether through life insurance, whether through they inherited a house or property, or really anything of substance, they've gotten, the child has actually gotten kicked off their benefits. So they get state aid, they get federal aid, and all that aid is then wiped out, and they're not getting that aid any longer because they have too much income. So part of this planning is to make sure that we're protecting the child so that if they do get an inheritance, it's properly protected so they can keep their state benefits. The seminar today, it's only an hour long, so it's really broad strokes, but at the same time, you know, it's really to give parents an education on not just what kind of type of planning is out there, but what the effects may have on the child. The emotional financial burden is extremely great for these families, and especially when you have children. One may have special needs, another child in the same family may not. And it's really important to find out ways on what we can do to provide for the child with special needs. You know, a lot of people may think that if I just give all my money to the child that does not have a special need, then they'll be able to just take care of the child that does have that special need. But a lot of times that's not the best way to go about things, because they might have, that other child may have their own problems, whether it's with financial problems, whether they decide that they can't take care of the child with special needs. So it's really important to make sure that we're taking the time to protect the child with special needs so they're not left out to dry when the parents are no longer with us.
Plymouth is the second highest harvester of lobsters in Massachusetts. So when the Chamber of Commerce decided to launch a public art display that pays homage to this industry, a lobster crawl was a logical choice. More than 25-foot lobster sculptures have been spoken for by area sponsors, and each given to an artist to create an interesting design. The finished pieces are set to be placed around the waterfront area in 2017. PCN went to the grand launching event for this kickoff.
So today our lobsters finally arrived. For those of you that don't know, it's a public art display that's going to be happening throughout the entire Plymouth community. We have 28 5-foot-tall fiberglass lobsters that you can see behind me. And the lobsters are sponsored by different local businesses and painted by local artists. This is a big event for us. We've been working very hard on this, everyone at the Chamber, for almost 2 years now, getting this project together. And to see it finally come to fruition and the 28 lobsters arrive. They came from Nebraska, so they had a long journey, and it's great to see everyone here today. They could finally pick them up. We're having a clam bake, I'm sorry, not a clam bake, a lobster bake for all the local sponsors and artists. It's just a great day. It's gonna be really cool when they go out. So all the local sponsors are local business owners from the entire Plymouth community, and all the artists are from the South Shore. So we're really happy to be able to involve the community, the entire community, into this project.
Today is the day that the lobsters finally arrive from Nebraska. We've been waiting a very long time for this opportunity. As an artist, we've been preparing for several weeks for this event. It's been a difficult situation, not really knowing the real facts and measurements of the lobster, but we're very excited to bring these lobsters to Plymouth so Plymouth can have a place where people can travel from street to street and see how beautiful our town is. And it's going to be a lobster of recycled materials, which is going to be the one-of-a-kind specialty. We hope everybody comes to visit, and we hope it brings many people to visit it. The lobster is made of a musical theme, rock lobster. And it's going to have all musical instruments on it. everything on it will be recycled. It will have recycled records, it will have recycled guitars, it will have recycled harmonicas and CDs and DVDs and guitar picks, and you name it, it'll be recycled on it. So it'll be very unique and very individual.
I'm working with Monica O'Brien, and she is, and we both like to upcycle, and we're gonna manipulate ours with sculpture. I love public art. I love to expose people who normally wouldn't go into galleries or into artist studios with witnessing art on their own terms.
It's exciting. It's exciting because it's something very different to be an artist, to do something like this. And it's exciting because I know that it'll bring a lot of happiness and fun to the people that get to see them all. And it'll also help with, people coming to Plymouth and seeing the uniqueness about us. And it's just an addition to the history of our town.
The Plymouth Babe Ruth organization teamed up with the Have a Sammy Kinda Day Foundation to raise money for 2 local youngsters who have lost both their parents, their mother last year and their father earlier this year. The gathering took place before the Babe Ruth All-Star Game at Forges Field, and we were there to capture this very touching moment.
We are running a fundraiser tonight to support one of our players. The Webster family recently had loss in the family, and we're here tonight to help support them, with 2 children are left behind, and we really want to do something great for them. Bradley Webster and Molly Webster are 2 children here in Plymouth. They're part of the Plymouth Public Schools. Bradley is in our Downey division, and he plays in our league. And what we're trying to do is establish a fundraising event tonight to help support the family fund for both of these kids as they move forward. Both parents tragically were lost and passed away recently, and we just want to do something that's really special for those kids.
Mark Way heard about the story. He runs the Babe Ruth League here, whose All-Star Game is here tonight, and just took it upon himself and just became champion of this cause to create this event tonight for Molly and Bradley and Carrie. And his enthusiasm, his energy toward it. I've been working with him just over the least bit, little bit of time here, most recently leading up to it. It's all him. He's the one who's really created this event, gotten the community to get together. He's an extraordinary guy. Plymouth is very lucky to have him.
Mark had contacted us and said, hey, we're doing this fundraiser for Molly and Bradley, and is it something your organization is interested in and could participate in? So through working with them, we decided that it is something we'd love to be involved in, and we're sending the kids down to Disney to participate in a family vacation in October when the rest of their family will be down there. Mark had reached out to us and explained that these children had lost both their parents. Unfortunately, both to drug addiction, and it's so devastating, right, what's going on with that. But I thought about these 2 kids. All of a sudden, they're alone, right? They don't have that mother-father that is so important to help guide you through life. And we heard that the community was coming together to show these kids, you're dealing with a tough time, but there's people who care, there's support out there, and people will help you through it. And I thought it was a great way to reinforce for them that even through hard times, you can make it, and there's people out there who will help you do that.
Well, the number one thing that we want to take away from tonight is that the community totally got involved in this effort. From any type of donations to fundraising items for raffles, people really stepped up.
One other thing of note from that event, earlier in the day, the guys from the Plymouth Pilgrims baseball team put on a hitting and fielding clinic for all the kids on both All-Star teams, and I know everybody from the organization was really, they were psyched. The kids were psyched, and they were just really thankful for that too.
Kindness and baseball going together, and just another example of in Plymouth how the community rallies around people who need it. Good for them. That was a wonderful story. Dr. Stillman of Court Street Animal Hospital talks to us about microchipping your pet in this week's Pet Health segment.
Hi, I'm Norm Stillman from the Court Street Animal Hospital here for this week's PCN Pet Health segment. Ruby and I are going to be talking with you about the importance of microchips and their benefits, and Moonlight's going to be helping us demonstrate. So a microchip is a little piece of circuitry. It's encapsulated in glass, and it contains within it a little tiny transmitter. There's no power source, but it is very briefly energized by a microchip scanner such as this one. The microchip rests underneath the skin, and by convention in this country we always put it between a pet's shoulder blades. When a pet is found, then a shelter, humane society, some police departments, some fire departments, almost every veterinarian will have one of these scanners and will run it across the pet's back, and a little alphanumeric code will show up on the screen. Using this code, we can call an 800 number, which is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and read them this number, and they'll be able to identify the pet for us and tell us who the owner is, where they live, give us contact information, and also tell us if the pet has something like diabetes or epilepsy, maybe they require some medication. I find these chips very useful. Probably at least once a month, someone calls us up and says they've discovered a cat in their backyard or a dog walking down their street and they're not sure what to do with it. We always ask them to bring it over, and we scan every one of those animals. Probably 1 in 10 of those has a microchip. We call their owner. Of course, they're terribly worried. They've been looking everywhere, and as soon as we alert them, they come and get their pet. Problem solved. The other 9 do not have microchips, and unless they have some kind of other identification on them, we call the animal shelter, and then our animal control officers come to pick that pet up and take them to the shelter. Stressful for the pet. Sometimes we can't discover their owners at all. So I think for a lot of reasons the microchip works out beautifully. It's very safe, it's very effective, it's inexpensive, it lasts for the pet's whole life. I would strongly advocate anyone who has a pet to consider placing a microchip there to help them get back as quickly as possible. Heaven forbid if they're ever lost. Thanks so much for having me. I'll look forward to talking with you again in the near future.
Town Talk takes us to Kingston Town Hall for some summer news.
Hi, and welcome back to the west wing of the Kingston Town Hall. I'm Bob Fennessy, I'm the town administrator. Just want to bring you up to date on a couple of things that are going on in Kingston this summer. Very exciting. This is actually the first time that we're having a Kingston Waterfront Festival, and it'll be held down at Grays Beach on August 20th, which is a Saturday. The rain date is Sunday the 21st, but we're hoping that doesn't happen, because all the vendors and everybody will be set up there. It's going to be an exciting family event. There'll be face painting and there'll be exhibitors. Right now the town, we're working through some of the issues with traffic flow and parking and so forth. And one of the good things is that we have set up let me preface this all by, it's a Kingston Business Association who is putting this on. So they have found a group to be able to do shuttles back and forth to the Kingston collection. So those will be happening every 30 minutes. The good thing that ties in with that is that at the Kingston collection there'll be a car show that day too. So you can do the two of those things. Again, when it gets back to Kingston and you're at the festival, there'll be a lot of activity. We'll have a beer festival that'll be going on, as well as there'll be Kingston Yacht Club will be holding a regatta that same day. We're hoping that the town shows up to enjoy that. Again, it's the first time that we're having this. Again, it's August 20th, 10 to 6 or 7. We're going to come up with a final time, but 10 o'clock it'll open up down at Grays Beach. So there'll be plenty of activity there. The second thing I want to mention is that in the summer we have family movie nights down at Grays Beach again. And if you haven't been to Grays Beach, take a ride down there. There's a great snack shack there where you can have lunch, you can have a bite to eat, you can go into the water. It's really a nice family-oriented facility. But the family movie nights are taking place the next 3, July 22nd, and they're going to be showing Goonies, and these are again family oriented. August 5th will be Zootopia, and August 12th will be The Sandlot. So those are happening at Grays Beach. They start at dusk, which is about 8:30, but you want to get down there a little earlier. Get your chairs out there. It'll be all set up for a great night. So we hope to see you around Kingston this summer, and enjoy it, and I'll be back later with an update.
Thanks for watching this week's show. Replay times are listed at our website, and you can find us on YouTube by searching for the PACTV Community News channel.
Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter for previews, links, and behind-the-scenes information.
If you have a story idea, send us an email or fill out a story form on our website. See you next week for more local stories.